So, today's video is brought to you by, they're upside down, Unicorn Kitty. So, my messy desk, I've been busy working on a digital piece, so I didn't bother getting my video up yesterday, so I figured I'd better get it up today. Yeah, we were talking about it in like one of the small art groups, and I had said that well, at first I was just too lazy. Not lazy, I guess. I didn't really schedule very well for editing for these videos for the first couple. And then I decided that I'm just going to leave them raw, because when I start rambling, then when I go back and watch it, or when somebody's watching it, and then I find that I'm finding out a lot more of myself, and it's kind of messed up. I didn't realize how many insecurities I actually did have, which is hilarious that I didn't even know. But yeah, so I have a second book. Ooh, look at that glare. That I got at the same time as this book. So I figured when I finish this book, I'll move on to this one, and then I'll get more on my game with editing. I think I really need to just have that raw, uncut version for myself until I actually get comfortable with being raw and uncut. So this week's chapter is chapter 16. Lose your bone, Wilma. This chapter pretty much tells a travel story about when she's in India. Okay, so this week's chapter, like I said, is just basically a travel story about her time in India, and how she really learned that you can either go with the flow and you know, relax, enjoy yourself, or you can yeah, go against the flow and struggle, basically. That's what I got out of this. Which is kind of it's kind of interesting, because yesterday I had posted my go with the flow turtle, Tony the turtle, and I've just finished digitalizing it, so I just been working on that all week. So it's kind of interesting that this week's chapter is about going with the flow. And basically it was stories about how much of a culture shock it was, you know, coming from North America, and you're like, you know, you go catch a bus, and you know, we think when you book like a deluxe train or bus or whatever, you have this understanding in your mind about what that equates to, but it doesn't equate to the same thing in India. And it ended up being very you know, crowded and not what she expected. And at the end of the day, not even the end of the day, during the trip, she ended up having an amazing experience, and meeting people, and being able to see these beautiful temples and stuff. So basically she was saying that she could have been angry, mad, and, you know, upset that all this was happening, or just go with the flow and see where it takes you. So I find that a lot with traveling. It's a lot easier for me to just go with the flow, because of taking yourself out of the environment that you're normally used to. I feel like it gives you more freedom to allow yourself not to maintain that control, I guess. You know, like, you give yourself a break because you don't know everything about that culture, or you know, how they operate day to day. So you give yourself a lot more, you're a lot more forgiving with yourself, and you allow yourself to more or less go with the flow, so that you can learn more about you know, where you're going and the people who are there. So I think it's easy when, like, when you're traveling, you can be one of two kind of travelers. You can be the kind who, you know, gets angry and upset because if people aren't, you know, talking English to you, or it doesn't work the same way that it does where you're from. Or you can just go with the flow and, like, enjoy yourself and learn things. So I don't know, I have a lot of examples of this, because none of my trips ever go to plan. Like, not one of them. And every single one of them has been amazing. So a good example would be, actually I was traveling with friends, and one of the people I was traveling with, they were just not happy at all, and very negative, and not being a very nice person. And I got very upset, and I ended up, like, just walking away in some random direction. I had, like, kind of like a idea in my head where I wanted to go, but, like, I didn't have no idea where I was going. So I just, like, got mad and stormed off. And it ended up being, like, the best thing of that day, because I ended up seeing, like, so many things. And because I was lost, I had to talk to people to be able to find where I was going, for one, make sure I didn't get too lost. And yeah, so in the moment, I'm like, I'm done. I need to get away from all this negativity and find some positivity, and just went with it. And it really ended up being a great day. And then at the end of the night, everybody made up, and it was a good time. Yeah, so I don't know, I have lots of examples of just going with the flow. And it always seems like the second you, like, stop worrying, stop being negative, and just, you know, release all that stress and fear, like, amazing things happen. And I don't know, if you look at it, I guess perspective is, like, huge. You know, what things that I might seem amazing might seem silly to somebody else. But if you take the time to just stop and enjoy the things around you, it really does add to the experience. So, and so she has a list of things here about what India taught her about tapping into the mother load. So it says, talk to strangers. We're all a family on this planet. I still struggle with that sometimes, because I have social anxiety, and I'm really bad when I'm at home, but I'm a lot better with it when I'm traveling for some reason. It's, I guess, my mentality that I've always had is that I'm there to interact with people. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I need to figure out how I do that, actually, because that would be a great tool for when I'm at home. I like to talk to everybody when I'm traveling. Expect and enjoy the unexpected. And yeah, it goes back to the same thing. I always say I plan for the worst and hope for the best. So when you expect that how do I put it? It's like when you expect that things are going to go wrong and you hold on to that, chances are they're going to go wrong. When you understand that things might go wrong, you do everything you can that's in your control to mitigate anything that could possibly happen, and then you let it go and you just let things happen how they're meant to happen. I always believe that you always end up where you're meant to be, not where you want to be, where you need to be. So for myself, like with my anxiety, that's how I deal with being able to let go of control, is by doing what's in my control and reminding myself that's all I can do. So that's been huge for me. Find the humor. You have two options. You can laugh or you can cry. And if you can find the humor in something, or the joy, or something, it's like a lot better to spend your energy focusing on that instead of the things that you can't control and just be miserable over things that you can't control. When me and my niece had gone to Italy, like, I don't know, it was a disaster. Every time I go to Italy, it's like something happens. And I ended up with like no credit card, no bank card, and like I had no cash, and my niece had a little bit of cash, and the most unexpected things just kept happening to us. Like, it was absolutely amazing. You know, the food that we ate was awesome for the most part. We had, one night before we left Florence, we had like chocolate and beer and toast with jam for supper. It was awesome. But my most favorite moment was it was like on top of the, where is it called, Michelangelo Piazza, with a beer and an ice cream. That was like the best moment ever. A hot, sweaty day, hiking up the hill, only to find out that there's a bus that goes up there. But that was like the highlight of my day. It was like sunset in Michelangelo Piazza with a gelato and a beer and my niece. It was awesome. But, you know, had I had money, I probably would have caught the bus up there, caught the bus back down. Well, if I had known there was a bus. But yeah, it's like things like that just kept happening. You know, the day after, I had the bank had stolen my bank card. All the galleries were free. I don't know, we met some pretty cool people too, so it was awesome. And again, like, none of that was planned. I had my trip all planned out, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to see, where I wanted to eat, like everything. I've had some people I was supposed to meet up with to do some art stuff, and absolutely nothing worked out, and I am totally fine with that. It was awesome. And we had a lot of laughs. Like, it would have been very easy to be, you know, standing in the street after the bank machine stole my bank card and just like cry, or, you know, get angry. But, you know, I called my bank, and that was basically all I was able to do at that moment. So it would have been easy just to like go back home and be miserable. But we ended up going out that night, and it ended up being like a really good night. Joined the party. So yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I guess I need to start looking at home the same way too. Like, you're here for an experience. You're here to live, instead of just sitting on the sidelines, not doing anything. You need to like actually get involved and get engaged and be interactive, which is a little bit harder to do now, but you know, there's still ways to figure that out, even like with the technology we have. live in the moment. This is a big thing for me. I do that a lot with like mindfulness for my anxiety. When I start getting beyond my thoughts of the, like right now, start thinking about the future or start thinking about the past, I have to really just stop myself and usually I'll draw, sometimes write, and you know, I have like a bunch of little tricks I do, but it just makes me stop and brings me back to the moment. And yeah, like, you're here to live. You need to live, not worry about what's going to happen or what has happened. Time spent enjoying yourself is never time wasted. I always say that too, actually. You know, especially with painting. Excuse me. I do a lot of like pieces that are like practice, or you know, I try new things and they don't work out, and I always say that it's never a waste of time because I always enjoyed it or I always learned something. And yeah, and even those canvases, like if those canvases haven't worked out, like it's not like that canvas is wasted. I can still go back, I can do something else with that canvas, I can fix what's there that I don't like it's not wasted. So I always feel like, I think that was a big thing for me too, was getting over the fear of like wasting my paint because it's so expensive, or you know, wasting canvases or stuff like that. But I think by holding on to it, like I never really got to enjoy it. So it was kind of like the opposite. The second I started using it and started realizing that, hey, this isn't a waste, like I've learned something, or I've spent the last couple hours enjoying myself, like I don't know, it's given me more pleasure, I guess. Share your space. And yeah, this is one thing that I am working on. This is like with the whole being seen aspect, and you know, stepping out of my comfort zone and not being a hermit and social recluse, and really putting myself out there more, sharing my space that I live in. But I still have like my space, you know, like my personal space. It's my safe place. The place where I like inhabit and live and enjoy and love. And then the last one is loosen your bone, Wilma. So basically it's like, sometimes you just gotta let your hair down and just enjoy. Life doesn't always have to be serious. Sometimes you just need to put on the unicorn kitten socks and rock it like it's 1979. And then the last one, as always, love yourself and life. Love yourself and life becomes, my reading skills today. Love yourself and life becomes a party. So I think that's a good chapter. And yeah, I always encourage people to travel, especially when you're young. I wish I had known the importance of that when I was younger, and I probably would have done more of it, because it just opens you up so much. You get to see different perspectives and learn about different people, and your world goes from like being this little nutshell to like a blossoming flower. So yeah, I miss traveling. I've been really missing Paris the last week or two, which is weird because it was never my favorite place the first time I went there. Even the second time, it took me a while to warm up to it. And now it's like, as soon as it got warm outside, that's all I could think of was like the gardens with the flowers, and you know, walking along the canals. I guess they're probably in they are in confinement right now, but they still go outside during certain hours. And yeah, I was sick the last the last couple of, well, last week, the week before. Like you seen last week, I was swollen. I ended up getting like a little bit worse, and then now it's a lot better. Still a fat face, you can't really tell, but I feel better, a lot better. So I haven't been keeping up on my French. I'm not behind because technically my class didn't start until the 1st. So I'm still ahead of where I'm supposed to be, but on my little timeline that I come up with for myself, I'm behind on that. So tonight and tomorrow night, I will have to do a little bit more. I meet with my tutor a little bit later today, and so that'll be helpful to get some insight on that and some help with my pronunciation. But yeah, so today is like French, and I have that drawing I want to finish doing, and I'm waiting to hear back from, because it's of a person, so I'm waiting to hear back from that person before I do anything else with that. And that's about it. Go outside, go for a walk, enjoy the day, figure out what to make for supper, because I don't know what to make. I was thinking of making, like, what's that, Tom Gai Can soup? The coconut chicken soup, but I realized, I was gonna make it yesterday, and I realized that I, like, used up all my coconut milk, so maybe go pick that up. But yeah, we're done part 3 now, so we're on to part 4. How to get over your BS already. So that's interesting. So yeah, last week, this week, I can't remember, my days and nights like blend into each other, but I have gone public with the online print shop, and I was actually surprised the response I got from that. It was nice. I've only made one sale, but it made me very happy. And but yeah, just like people's reaction towards it has been really great. I haven't had any negative reactions yet, which is nice. I'm sure they're coming. But even if they do, like, I'm fine with that. I'm very I'm just glad that I took that step and put it out there. So the focus really has been on, okay, it's out there now, so what do I need to do to improve on it? You know, I already have my list of stuff that I want to get finished, get up there. Yeah, and just basically trying to figure out this whole e-commerce thing, because I don't know, it's like, it can't just be easy, like, to integrate everything into each other, because everything works on different platforms, so that's kind of annoying. So just figuring that out, and actually I found that kind of interesting. So, and what else? Yeah, that's really been it. Today is my 3rd day off from work, so I have a couple more days off before I have to go back to work. So I have a huge pile of books beside my bed. I started reading 2 of them, and then I was kind of like going between the 2 of them back and forth. And then yesterday I was downstairs and I forgot my book, so I just started reading another book, and then I ended up like reading that book until I fell asleep last night. So I have a bunch of reading that I want to do, and that's about it. Anyways, I hope everybody else has a good week, and I shall see you next time. Bye.